Good morning, 6 of you. We have now collected enough butter from Grandma that I filled up an entire yogurt tub of miscellaneous butter. All I'm doing today is a little bit of breakfast. I'm gonna make some oatmeal with all the milk that I just brought back from Grandma's. I haven't seen her in a couple of days. We don't know if these milks are good. Probably a few of them will be cottage cheesy and we're gonna dump them, but otherwise we're going to try and make some oatmeal with them. And there goes a siren. I have to go to farm school in the afternoon, so this is a very short stream. I'm just touching base while I make some breakfast with possibly spoiled milk, and that is all. I'm pretty tired. There's a 2-hour difference, I think, between Mexico and New York, and I didn't fall asleep until almost 3 a.m. So I got less than 5 hours of sleep today, running on 4 days of traveling, and we have farm school in the afternoon, so we're taking it easy. Enjoy your camping trip, Gary, and welcome to Saturday, all. I also have to do a COVID test for farm school, so you'll get to see me poke my nose again in case you missed all of that. Nostril probing action. Yes, farm school is still very much requiring us to have COVID tests. They're pretty precautious still, which on a certain level I think I appreciate, but also on another level I'm just like, you know? But anyway, first things first, we're gonna cook some Scottish oats that I have that always has little chunks of grit or rocks in it even, so we're gonna sift it out a little bit. I'm gonna do some dishes, we're gonna make some oatmeal, I'm gonna chat with you all, and then I'm gonna log off in under an hour because I just don't have time today to hang out. I also have no energy to cook, so welcome to the most tired June has ever been on a stream. Is this true? Might not be true. That might be fake news. I'm going to pull up your chat on my computer so I can see you. And we're going to sort some Scottish oats. Okay. Where are we? Mexico was great. Trip was pretty easy breezy, relatively speaking. No real bumps during our itinerary, I guess. We got everything that we needed to get done, and flights were for the most part on time. A little bit of a delay, but to be expected, and literally saw maybe like 3 people besides me wear a mask inside the airport, so that was kind of mind-blowing. But I guess nobody cares about masking up anyway. Nobody got kidnapped. Pretty good. We love it when nobody gets kidnapped. And actually the weather where we were at was way better than what New York's weather has been, is. New York is very humid. And I think we've had a few thunderstorms and high 90s Fahrenheit for the past couple of days, but Mexico was great. No complaints about the weather there. don't think I washed this pot very well before I left. I think there's like dumpling skin stuck on here. Whoops. Hello, Philippines. Food was good. Yes. I'm glad you're following Burl Up and Barrel on Instagram. I won't be manning the Instagram account for the most part. That was just for the trip. But if you're interested in their spices and their story and, you know, whatever's going on, then yeah, follow them. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I was just talking to my uncle about the whole business model at Burl Up and Barrel, and he was like, oh, that sounds really nice. That sounds really kind. And I was like, yeah, that is. I guess that's why I'm working there, you know? It aligned with my values for once. Hi, Ada. Thank you. Hello, Sydney. I truly don't know why I'm cooking oatmeal. Well, I know why I'm cooking oatmeal. I'm cooking oatmeal because I want to use up Grandma's possibly spoiled milk that we're going to experiment with. But it is hot right now in New York. I was not prepared to come back to this again. There's like almost no breeze. It's tropical feeling. I found a rock and then I lost it. And I found it again and we're going to get rid of it. Hi, Amsterdam. Oh, I also need to make some more donut dough for Grandma. Don't let me forget that. So, yeah. Any updates for me in your lives? Any questions for me about my trip? Any questions for me about how Grandma fared? I think Grandma fared better than I could have hoped for. She had a few complaints when I was leaving today, but she seemed to be in a generally good mood when I went into her room today, which is always a good sign. She insisted that I went to Beijing and not Mexico, and to be honest, I don't even know if Grandma knows where Mexico is on the map, or what it is. And so she had it in her mind that I went to Beijing, and somehow she thought in her mind that it was okay that I would go to Beijing without her. Like, one would think that if I'm going to Beijing, I would take her with me and send her home, right? But no. She insisted that I went to Beijing, and she insisted that she called my uncle to make sure that I was okay, and that she was so glad that he picked up, because if he hadn't, and she didn't talk to him on the phone, which in reality she didn't, or at least in my reality she didn't, then she would have been worrying her ass off. But according to Grandma, she called Beijing, talked to my uncle. My uncle said June is doing great, and then she was relieved to hear that, and that's apparently why she was on relatively good behavior. I asked the nurse at her facility, did Grandma give you guys any trouble? And he was like, no more than usual. And I was like, well, for better and for worse. That's good to hear. So, those are the updates that I have for you. Do we want to have sesame seeds in my oatmeal? How do we want to flavor this oatmeal? I've been eating a lot of poppy seed oatmeal. I think I've run out of poppy seeds. I'm open to any spicing ideas for this pot of milky oatmeal. I think we've gotten rid of most of the stony bits, but I can't be sure. Spoiled milk is not something Bailey's can fix. Spoiled milk is something that needs to go down the drain so that I don't give myself more pain than I already deal with. Everything is about making things as painless as can be, but Eliza, you know better than to ask me that question. What the? Okay, yeah. Anyway, Amsterdam is sweating too. Cool. Was your grandma remembering a previous trip? I haven't been to Beijing since she herself was living in Beijing, and that was over a dozen years ago at that point. So if she's remembering stuff, it's not from my lifetime. I don't know what grandma's doing, honestly. Hi, Ireland. Guys, oh my gosh, let me tell you a story while we see what milks are usable and what milks aren't. Yesterday on the flight home, a flight attendant recognized me, and I was full on KN95 masking, and that was a milestone. I was sitting next to Ethan, and after the flight attendant like chatted with me a little bit, he was like, "Whoa, she recognized you with the mask and all." And I was like, "Yeah, usually it's just Asian girls who can pick me out through a mask. This was like a really, she was like a very kind, I guess, I don't know where she's from. I didn't hear an accent, but white lady, the first white lady, congratulations, to recognize me through a mask." And I have wondered about this before. I feel like, I don't know if the studies are, you know, trustworthy, but there have been studies that say that you're more likely to be able to distinguish facial differences in people of your own race, or at least people of races that you grew up around, because of exposure. So I've always assumed that, you know, Asian girls were able to pick me out through a mask because, like, they're Asian, and so they can recognize certain features, maybe just from the upper half of my face, that people of other races who might not have had as much contact with East Asians might have been able to do. But she was really kind, she was really nice. She offered me the finest food that United has to offer, and I kindly thanked her and turned it down, because at that point I was just like ready to not do anything with my body. But very kind. She said that she followed me all along the pandemic, and that I had taught her how to cook, and it was just very sweet. And it was a really nice way to end the trip on. I also saw fantastic lightning from the airplane. We basically were driving parallel to where I could see the lightning splinter from. So it was at nighttime. We were flying back at night, and every time the lightning went off, which was like every 3 seconds, it would illuminate the clouds in such a dramatic and almost theatrical way, like you were in a black box theater and they were doing special effects manually. So that was really fun. Hi, Virginia. And my accommodations was an Airbnb. It was pretty basic, I would say. Walnuts I do not have, unfortunately. Have I heard about the Marrakesh, Morocco 6.8 earthquake? No. Do you think natural events like this and others are connected to our use of the planet? You know my answer on that. But also, you know, the other perspective is we are just living on this planet, and yes, we have done things that maybe we could have chosen to do otherwise. But at the end of the day, I think we as a species, maybe as a universe, we're fated to do what we do. And so even if we've done detrimental things to the planet, who's to say that we've had choice in any of this? Who's to say that, you know, oh my God, and Grandma wraps up the milk too, like she doesn't want other people to know that she's keeping these milks. It's really ridiculous, y'all. I have a feeling that these are all gonna be spoiled, but we'll see. Oh yeah, this one is so bulgy. This one is definitely spoiled. Oh God, that's so awful. That's so bad. That's turned into, I just dumped out all the whey, guys. Let me show you in this container that I have to wash out soon what Grandma's milk has turned into after the whey's been dumped out. Literal cheese. It's turned into literal cheese. We're not going there today. I'm sorry to disappoint, but we are not going there today. That was spoiled milk. Yeah, you're welcome, Nolar the Great. I'm here to provide entertainment. Don't worry, we're gonna do the look, smell, taste test before we use any of these, okay? I know we're not supposed to be drinking this milk, so I am being very precautious. Fregata regatta, you got it. That's exactly it. Forgot or got? Okay. Yeah, these are all bad. These she had tucked away in her drawers, like her dresser drawers. And so ooh, latte oatmeal sounds great. Okay, this one looks like it could potentially be good. Let's do a little drink test. Smell? Smells okay. Pours okay. Drink's okay. All right, we can use this one. We got 1 out of 4, baby. Let's turn this on. Pour this in. You know, your breakfast of a Monster Energy, if it makes you happy, is a 10 out of 10. That's all that matters. I am inspired by your matcha latte oatmeal idea, and I think I'm going to do that because I have a 50, what is it? I have a 1 pound bag of matcha that I bought during the pandemic that I have not used sufficiently at all. I've used like maybe a cup of it, and there's still so much. So I guess matcha latte oatmeal. I have no idea what the trench, oh that's bad, this one's bad too. I have no idea what the trench Sprite tea lemon drink is at all. Hello Northern California. Oh, trendy. Yeah, we were actually talking about food trends on the trip, and we've decided that none of us are well versed enough on food trends. Wow, I brought home 7 containers, and so far we've only gotten 1. Is it? So it sounds like a sweet tea, but instead of using sugar and water, you're using Sprite, which costs more. So, hey, whatever works, I guess. They don't keep them refrigerated for her because they give them 1 per meal, but if she doesn't drink it, then she puts it in her drawer. She stashes it. She hoards, guys. I don't know if you understand this, but my 94-year-old grandma, who's turning 95 in January, lived through droughts, famines, wars, seeing her own family get killed in front of her. She's got a lot of trauma in her past. She has a lot of hoarding tendencies. So we can do all the right things, but it's up to grandma to do the final leg, and sometimes grandma is not capable of doing the final leg. So the milk is meant to be eaten with every meal, but grandma doesn't eat them with every meal. She hoards them instead. I'm lighter and bouncier than usual. I'm running off a little bit less sleep than desired. But I just came back from Mexico on a sourcing trip with Bob and Beryl as part of it. A nice break. Here's some matcha. I don't know if that's enough matcha, but I have way more matcha if we want more matcha. Yes, if they don't give her something that she sees other people get, even if she doesn't want it, she gets angry. So for a period of time, I said, let's not give her milk. Let's not give her bread. She doesn't seem to like drink or eat them. Why waste it? And then she started complaining to me about how everybody else is getting these things and she's not getting these things. So I said, you know what? Let's just give her all the things and let's have her have the ability to waste whatever she wants to waste. Because it's just not worth my time to try to tell my grandma all these things that she doesn't want to hear. Matcha. A pound of it. I took her out today and she was like, can we go back? It's so hot. And I was like, yeah, no kidding. She complains about the facility constantly, but it gives her AC, it gives her a clean bed, it gives her 2 showers a week, it gives her 3 meals a day. So, Grandma's pretty set, y'all. She's just going to have to complain about things because she likes complaining about things. Yeah, I agree. If it gives her peace of mind, then it's worth it. Exactly. I don't need to make life harder for myself. That is our conclusion. Do we want to talk about anything in particular today, or do we want to just cook breakfast in peace and quiet and nothingness? The best part of my trip was just bonding with the 2 team members that I was on the trip with, and also meeting all the people who are a part of this Mexican chili project that we're doing. Like, I think, you know, when you're working with solidly missioned purposes, you get to meet some great folks who want to see a little bit more out of this world than what the general tide and momentum has been pushing for. And I think being able to remind myself that there are people who care is always a nice change of pace from the usual depressive realities. Hi, Romania. The weather in Mexico was beautiful. I mean, sure, it was hot, but it was like a drier heat and way more preferred than this New York heat, at least for me. Your delusional is always dreaming about falling in love with someone you met on a trip. Interesting. That's some like before sunrise shit. I've not made mole before, but we got some mole from this trip. So maybe I'll cook with that ready-made mole sometime. Yeah, you're right. It's a dry heat is that it's not too sweet of weather. Precisely. I have to say, Before Sunrise did more damage for me than Disney movies did in terms of raising expectations of what falling in love meant, of what, like, finding connections with other people would entail, and I feel like that's probably the most fairy tale movie that's ever been made about falling in love. Damn, Supernova, that's a twist. Well, you know, some people are just really good at lying. I keep joking about what if I've been conning you guys this whole time into thinking I'm this person that I'm actually not. You know, like, I feel like I would deserve many, many Oscars for this performance of a lifetime. And it's the performance of a lifetime because I've acted my entire life. Imagine that. I think, was it Kurt Vonnegut? It's at least the quote that's attributed to him, who said something like, be careful who you pretend to be, because we eventually become our lies. But he said it in a much more quirky, funny, lighthearted way, as Kurt does so beautifully and organically. But I think about that all the time. We do just cultivate ourselves to be the people that we want other people to think we are, or we cultivate ourselves to be the people that we want ourselves to be. But in any case, we still cultivate ourselves to be someone. We're not just someone. I don't think not craving love is the same thing as being asexual, Adriana. From my perspective, at least. Grandma's currently 94. I ate some chapulines, which are grasshoppers, in a quesadilla, and it was delicious, and I liked it. Hello, Billy. I think we should add some honey or sugar to this for sure, since matcha will make it quite astringent and slightly bitter. It's interesting, right? Your mindset, well, my mindset kind of shifts because this is a bug that I'm not just picking off of the ground and eating, but rather it's a bug that's been eaten as a part of a culture's cuisine, and they know how to cook it, you know, like any other ingredient. Why is it that we can't eat bugs, but we can eat whole mammals that have been slaughtered? Beats me! It did not taste like chicken to me because they cure it in salt. And so it tasted kind of acidic to me. We're going to turn the heat off because I don't want to create even more steam in my house, and I think these are relatively cooked. I know some people cook steel cut oats for like half an hour to an hour, but not today for me, no. I have not heard of the book Gravitas. Is it weirder to eat something that's stringy and bony and crawls, or is it weirder to eat something that has a heart and organs that can be transplanted into humans? You know, like, think about that for a sec. I've not eaten silkworms. I've not eaten many bugs. I don't seek out bugs, but you know, it was presented as an option to me several times on this trip, and I just figured I should try it. So I tried it, and I liked it. We also had delicious tacos that were only 13 pesos, I guess. So under a dollar. It was like 17 pesos to the dollar. So when you sandwich these insects in a super cheesy quesadilla, they don't actually taste crunchy anymore. Think about stuff like wheat and oats that are really hard and gritty, but you eventually cook them down and they change their textures. So it's like that. I also struggle with oysters. I'm just not a fan, but I get it. You don't have to eat bugs yet. Lucky you, right? Okay, let's make some. Oh God. Let's make some donut dough for Grandma while I'm here. Honestly, I think we love the dollar tacos the most. They were just so right. They felt on point, as the kids would say. And just simple, straightforward, cheap, satisfying, delightful. We went to Central Mexico. Oh, Alice. You would not survive in my dictator regime, because if I were to become world dictator, I would have a stipulation that you can only eat things that you slaughter. So if you wanted to eat any sort of animal, you would have to kill it yourself. I think you're gonna have to be a little bit vegetarian in my world. Does anyone have anything fun planned for this weekend? You have to slaughter every time you run out of meat. If you want to eat meat, you have to kill that animal and get your meat. That's what my dictatorship will look like. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for me to take over the world? Hello, Canada. Oh man, I'm an awful girl. Pun not intended, but I'll take it. I love organs. I love the offcuts. So, awful all the way. For sure. I have tried yoga. I do like it. I don't think I want to be one of those people who do it every day, but I enjoy it for sure. You want to look at my matcha mush? You're going on a date for the first time in 8 years tonight. I'm so excited for you. I am very excited for you. I hope it goes well. I hope you have a great time. It's good, for sure. But I still want honey in it. It's always June food. Duh. If I make it, it's gonna be June food. I just passed through Houston yesterday. Y'all have it really hot down there. Oh yeah. Is it Independence Day in several Latin American countries? Because I think it was Independence Day in Mexico too. Like people were setting off fireworks constantly. Simple, inexpensive fun. Eastern Market in DC. That sounds great. Ooh, guys, it's hot. It's hot in New York. Becoming a Woman Day. What is your native language? Is it like a quinceañera? Is she turning 15? Oh, her first period. What culture is this? I'm fascinated. Man, I wish I had a party on my first period. That sounds great. All I got was a night full of cramps. A daily yoga practice has saved your life. Can you expand? Can you tell us how that is? Why that is? I'm curious. I want to know. In what ways has yoga helped you so tremendously? Yum. It looks like snot when your body is undergoing a fever. Cool. South Indian. I want more spices in here, guys. Unsurprisingly. I'm gonna put a little bit of ginger. I always roast cauliflower. Or I eat it raw. I like raw cauliflower too. I think I also want some nutmeg. It's a weird choice, but I just want it. Yeah, I love this clear brown pot too. You can reheat oatmeal for sure. I don't think there's much you can't reheat. The thing is, I usually don't reheat oatmeal. I make it soupy enough that once it's fridged, it stays soupy enough even after it's congealed a little bit, after it cools. And then I like to eat it cold, especially in the summer, you know. Do you have any uncommon for a USA palette spice combinations you would suggest people try? No? I guess because I don't know what a USA palette is, you know? So, anything's game to me. I got a little bit of chamoy powder for Aaron. I got this from the mill that we visited to grind down the peppers that we're hoping to import. And this is basically like a sweet tart sugar. fear of spice and strong flavors. No fear. Have no fear, y'all. Have no fear. Okay, baking powder, baking soda in the donut dough. Listen, the spice combination thing, so many people have asked me for what I like to use. I don't have a staple that I like to use. And also, it's not about me, it's about what you like. And so I tend to tell people, like, I can't do the experimentation work for you because I'm not you. I don't have your palate. I don't like the things that you like, and you might not like the things that I like. So the best thing to do really is to try things. Maybe in small portions so that you don't feel like you're wasting a lot of food if you absolutely hate it. But also know that some things, even if you don't like it straight away, you might like it later after a few tries. You might get used to it. Because we tend to repel things out of lack of exposure to diversity, which isn't a bad thing. If you feel like rejecting unfamiliar things, you can, but you might need to also give yourself a little bit of time to enjoy these flavors that your body, your brain, your palate hasn't experienced before. Textures too. A lot of things can change, you know? So don't be afraid to have it change. I brought back from the Mexican airport one packet of sugar that was served alongside a cappuccino and a cookie, a plate of cookies. So we're gonna give Grandma some of this, and then I'm gonna put some of this in my oatmeal, and we'll split this made in Mexico sugar. Yeah. The people at the mill were insane. His hands were covered in chilies, and he was just going at it raw. Thank you for the latte oatmeal idea. It'll be a great way for me to start working away at my powdered tea selection. I think Kojita needs to be next. Baking powder has baking soda with other chemicals in it, so that baking powder can react with just the addition of water or other liquids. Because the two dry components in baking powder essentially react with each other. Baking soda is just baking soda. I think bicarbonate is when you make baking soda undergo a certain chemical reaction that it basically changes the taste and the functionality a little bit. Some people bake baking soda to turn it into bicarbonate. I'm not really sure about the science behind that. It's not my arena, unfortunately. Oh, if bicarb and baking soda are the same, what am I thinking of? There's something else that's related to baking soda that is slightly chemically different. The one that I'm thinking of is used a lot more in Asian cuisine. I see it in Chinese cuisine. I see it in some Indian cuisines too, I think. I see it sold at Patel Brothers. So, I'm not really sure there. Is your mom experiencing pain? Also, using the internet as a doctor is probably not a good idea, but I get it. I do the same. Is she undergoing pain? Is the bleeding flow the same for all 6 days? Is it getting heavier? Is it getting lighter? Is there any sort of change over the 6 days? I've had periods go on for a while. The longest I've had it go on for was 10 days, so it's possible. Has she had menstrual cycle issues before? Is this very out of the ordinary for her? Those are all things to take into consideration. My periods have definitely gotten longer. Some days they're 6 days, some days they're 7. After COVID, I feel like my menstrual cycle has gotten increasingly abnormal, which is turning into the new normal, which is what COVID has always been about, right? Always finding new normals. But yeah, unpredictable. I would say pay attention to the flow, pay attention to whether or not she feels other sources of physical discomfort. But I'm also not a doctor, and I'm also not 50, and I also don't know her medical history. A lot of things you need to take into consideration your past medical history first to know what you're actually working with. You can be your own stand mixer, guys. Okay, that's basically all I have for you today. I am sweating profusely. I do not like feeling this way. I hope autumn comes for us soon in New York. I bought this huge bottle of kombucha because I wanted kombucha, but also because look at this jar, this bottle. I probably won't use it, but maybe I'll brew some kombucha now with this kombucha bottle. The taste itself was very meh. One thing that I've noticed about carbonated drinks, at least in this part of Mexico that we went to, they are very mild. They're not carbonated much at all. We went to like a brewery, and most of the beers that we ordered there were so flat. I don't think I've ever had as many flat beers in a single place before. So I wasn't a fan, and the kombucha was no exception. It was also kind of flat. It's too bad that you don't like winter. That means you get sad every year. Or maybe not. Maybe we won't have winter soon. We'll just have eternal summer, which you'll equally grow to hate. because that is the human condition. We are hard to satisfy creatures. I mean, I think if it's over fermented, it wouldn't have tasted as mild as it did. I almost feel like it would have been unpleasantly astringent. I also don't think it was a particularly hot weather condition, and I feel like for a brewery, they should have experience with navigating these changes in conditions. You know? So IDK. All right, folks, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Feed yourself, stay hydrated, get more sleep if possible, and I'll see you another time. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend.